Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. I am so happy to have you guys here today sharing some energy with me. I wanted to let you know that I'm a professional intuitive empath and chef, as well as an all-around life path 3 and a creative and all that jazz. And now that we know each other, I want to get right into the title of the video. For those of you that are new here and found your way over here because of the Harry and Meghan content, welcome. Welcome. Hopefully, there's something else on my channel that might be of interest to you. And if not, that is okay. But what I want to do is just finish up. I thought in the last video that I had finished and that I was all said and done, and then that would be the end of it. But I felt like there was a couple things that I wanted to wrap up. First of all, one of the things I want to say is that we all need to pray very seriously and very ardently for Archie, for little Archie. A lot of people have speculation of whether the baby was carried or not. I don't. I believe that this lady was in fact pregnant. But what I will say is that, and I believe that especially because of the motivation of a narcissist. If you've come from part 1 or 2, then wonderful, you are caught up. If not, I would suggest that you go back and watch part 1 and 2, and you will have a better insight as to what it is that we're getting in here into today. But I feel like Meghan purposely had Archie. Of course, she wanted to have a baby. I'm sure that there were, just in her own self as a human, maybe this is something she wanted, but I feel like it's part of the calculation. The reason I say pray for Archie is because children that suffer narcissistic abuse often become empaths, like Harry. Now, Harry wasn't necessarily suffering narcissistic abuse, but he did have a trauma that injured him early that taught him to be kind to people. Plus, he had a mother that taught him to be kind to people as well, who was a natural empath. My point here is that with Archie, he will get a backlash because Meghan utilizes him more or less as a prop. For someone who is so desperate to be with her family, I am not just opining. I know Harry could also be with his son, so gender equality here, guys. But what I'm saying is, hasn't she been jet setting a lot? Hasn't she been traveling a fair bit? Hasn't she been anywhere but with her son? And that's fine. I also understand we don't want our son in every picture. That's fine. Privacy is a thing. I get it. But I do want you guys that are intuitive or light workers to really lend your energy and prayers to Archie, shielding him and creating a boundary around him, not just from his mother, because it's his mother. He's going to be around his mother, and he will have to walk through that. For those of us that have had narcissistic parents, myself included, you know the pain of that. So I just want you to reach out your energy to him and just say a little prayer for him. I wanted to also talk about some of the conundrum for Prince Harry, Prince Harry's conundrum, Prince Harry's labyrinth that he must escape. When you are in narcissistic abuse, it does feel like a labyrinth. Dr. Romney Dursalova, if I'm saying her last name correctly, teaches a lot about narcissistic abuse. And if you want to Google that name, Dr. Romney, I know I've got that right. She is here on YouTube and has a lot of content here if you're in the narcissistic abuse community. But she talks about some of the 5 ways that you know that you suffered narcissistic abuse. And one of the things she says is it's hard for you to make decisions. This correlates to Prince Harry. Meghan has been making all of these decisions for him. Yes, they were unhappy. Yes, the paparazzi hounded them on a certain level. But to leave his family, the only family he's ever known, yes, he's been disgusted with the press. We've known that prior to Meghan. He was upset with the press from the moment his mother was horribly taken from us too soon. But I do feel as though a lot of this is the whisperings of a narcissist. Narcissists are fantastic at that. They're fantastic at getting in your ear and helping to gaslight you into believing that this is now your cause celebre, that you should take on the energy of whatever is their real cause. And Meghan's real cause was fame and power and money at all purpose. Harry is merely a prop. And that's why I say pray for Archie, because Archie too is merely a prop. So, meaning it can evoke sympathy from you because narcissists mimic emotion. They don't really know what that is. And Dr. Romney has this brilliant assessment. She says a narcissist loves you like they love that glass of water. Meaning, in the moment, they may want that glass of water and it serves a purpose to quench their thirst. But when it's done, you literally are not thinking about that bottle of water, glass of water you had, are you? No, you're just kind of like, oh, that served its purpose and that's it. Now, most of us don't go through our day to day relationships having that kind of mentality. We enjoy our partner, we value them, we try to edify and uplift them. Megan only uplifted Harry to be able to, it's almost a picture a wind up doll or wind up toy. She wound him up so that she could set him out to do her bidding. And we have seen her setting him up to do her bidding. I want you to go back and look at that video too. Look at Beyonce's face. They've made a whole thing about it. You can find it on Twitter, on Instagram, or whatever. But Beyonce is observing this happen, and she's a little bit mortified. And you know what's interesting is her and Jay-Z had made a big splashy thing of saying our melanated Monas and talking about Meghan Markle and putting her up in a picture. That's before they got to see it up close and personal. The evening that Harry pitched that Meghan get a job for his wife, Meghan energetically had been winding him up for days and telling him about all of her great voiceover work. And maybe Harry doesn't cross-reference because when you're with a narcissist, you just start to believe the lies. Well, Meghan's done exactly one, voiceover, right? So that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve more voiceover work if she was a normal human, but it was for a Tostitos commercial, guys. Let's put it in perspective. So my wife does voiceovers. You didn't know that? How could this gentleman, Iger, I believe his last name is, know that if it was one commercial for Tostitos, and as wonderful as Tostitos are, it was one commercial for Tostitos, guys. So let's put this in perspective. Why would he know that Meghan does voiceover work? He wouldn't know it because it was a lie invented by Meghan off of the premise of the one minuscule experience she had to set her husband up like a wind-up toy to go out and do her bidding. As long as Harry stays useful to Meghan, he will stay within Meghan's realm or orbit. Okay, and I would say orbit as she is a Leo. I do believe she feels as though things revolve around her, as Leos can sometimes do. Full disclosure, I too am a Leo, and I have definitely been accused of that in the past myself. But I think that that errs more on the side of normal pathos that we all have. We all have energies that way. With Meghan, you see that she's never off. It's all about Meghan all day, all the time. Just a heads up with that. To tie into the Leo thing, in the first video that I made, I had alluded to Meghan wanting to wear the color green because it was Princess Diana's favorite color. And that there may be a correlation there. Meghan very much wants to connect herself, the archetype of Princess Diana, the way that Princess Diana was canonized after she passed away. Meghan wants that. And as my mother says, I said this in the last video, be careful what you ask for. I do not think that Meghan will meet the same fate as Princess Diana, though many people have commented about it and joked about it. I do not believe that that is going to be her fate. But what I will say is that the connection to the color green is very much to do with her and wanting the tiara. Specifically, what this was about was when she was getting married, the queen, the queen mother, can you imagine? The queen is offering her these bevy of jewels to pick from. And Meghan sees this Russian tiara, I do believe, which has terrible histories and conflicts, this Russian tiara that she wants, and yes, it's green, whatever. Well, I want you to know peridot is the birthstone for Leo, okay, and that color is a green. Sometimes Leo will be seen wearing emerald as well. Even though we are a fire sign and associated with bright oranges and vibrant colors and things of that nature, that is our birthstone, is this peridot. So that is my personal belief. That was one of Meghan's reasons for the connection, because it was in fact her birthstone. Now, in her mind, I'm sure she thought it was a perfectly rational request. But I saw entitlement, and I circled that on my notes because I thought the queen is offering you a gorgeous assortment of jeweled tiaras and you're arguing with her, and there's one that she says you can't wear, but that's the one you want. It reminded me of my narcissist and encounters that started our whatever when she preyed on me. I don't want to call it a friendship. And I ended up letting her move into my house. And the reason I say this is because there were moments in that where she's in my home and we had rules established. And at the time I was living with my mother, this is many, many years ago. And one of those was shoes off. And I just remember her coming in with her shoes on and doing other little things, little tiny things that you might not think are big deals, but it all added up to entitlement. And then one day it exploded in my face, all of her entitlement. And I thought, How did I let this happen? That's exactly what Prince Harry's going to find himself asking. How did he let this happen? I will tell you, the Queen Mother had her sights and eyes on Meghan right from the beginning. I believe she felt that she was, in fact, a grifter and she didn't like it. Yes, I've already addressed in the first video, racism, the undertones, the overtones, the very real reality that it did exist here, but that Meghan did also utilize it to her favor. The Queen Mother, there's a picture of her looking at Meghan while she's walking in, and Meghan is preening and smirking, is what I would call it, as she is very happy because the cat has caught the canary, has she not? She's in her wedding dress, and the Queen is looking at her. And the look that I see in the Queen's eyes, just as an empath, I register as, I've got your number, girl. And has she ever? That is the reason that the Queen did not allow them to divest fully from their names, even though they cannot use them to make money for now. They did not divest fully. The Queen is fully anticipatory that Harry will be returning to the fold, as are we. Now, this is where I want to tie it back to the narcissistic abuse. In order for Harry to return back to the fold, he has to be clear in thought. A narcissist is brilliant at creating divisive energy within yourself, where you are not only not clear in thought, you don't trust anything that you say, you don't trust who you are, you don't believe in your own voice, you don't remember what your own voice sounds like. There's another thing that Dr. Romney talked about, is the fear of admitting that you're wrong. So, man, if you've been in a narcissistic relationship, guys, how hard was it to admit that you were wrong? I had friends come to me, and I had lovers come to me, and I had all types of people. My narcissists were never lovers for me. They were always friends or best friends, okay? So I had all of these people come to me and tell me, this person is so incredibly toxic. I had a string of them, as most empaths do. Check out my video. I will link it. But in any case, there are, or check it out above here. I'm going to put a card in for it, but there are, many people that will come and try to tell you. Now, we know this happened for a fact with this couple because we hear about all of the stories with the prince having his friends warn him, with Prince William warning him, with people questioning him, hey, this is moving really fast. Another hallmark of narcissistic abuse. That love bomb is speedy. It is expedient because it has to be, because wearing the mask for them is heavy. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of work. And so she wanted to let that drop, and that's why she got back to America. What have we seen her in? Meghan, who has to wear Louis Vuitton. I'm sure it's still Louis Vuitton sweats, but she's in sweats and whatever. And yes, it's cold, but she doesn't have to be fake. Her fake anymore. She's still fake, but she doesn't have to be like fake, like, and pretend that she's, magnanimous and a humanitarian. That's not who she is at all. She's a social climber, and that's fine. We're allowed to be who we are, but own it. Kim Kardashian owns what she is, does she? Other social climbers own what they are. Not with Meghan. Meghan wants to be seen and perceived as different, and that's what was her problem with being over there. And she could no longer be, because it was too much. A whole nation had finally woken up to their spiritual hives, which means hearing intuitively the vicious or varying energy that is being sent your way. That's a download I received in a meditation, guys, and I think it's very applicable here for Meghan. So I worry for Prince Harry, because who can he admit to in the whole nation that he got this wrong? Everybody would be happy, willing, and ready to take him back. They love him. He is loved world round, but he has definitely lost a modicum or several of respect because of the situation, because he has chosen to go this direction. Now, there are some of us that admire him because he chose love and everything else. If he had chosen love, and if I felt that it was truly love he chose, then I would root here too for him. But I don't feel like it's love, because a narcissist doesn't know love. They only mimic love. They mimic human emotion. She doesn't know how to love him, as is evidenced by her mother, father, sister, brother, past lovers, past friends. Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. What makes us think that she will treat Harry any differently, or her own son, unless her son is of use to her, or unless Harry remains of use to her? What country does Harry have to return to? A man without a country. That's why his grandmother didn't, she's so wise. That's why she didn't allow him to fully escape as much as Meghan, had convinced him that he needed to. Because I intuit, as I was just thinking about this, that the Queen understands that God forbid, I wish she would live forever, but should she not live forever, that one day Harry will realize the error of his ways. And in that moment, he'll think, she knew. My grandmother knew. And in her own wise way, she protected me from what she knew would be soon coming calamity. And that is what I do predict with Meghan and Harry. I wish I was wrong, guys. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But years of teaching about this and years of living it and experiencing it tell me that I'm not. And it's hard because I mentioned here Meghan is an August 4th Leo. I am an August 4th Leo. Obama, who I adore, August 4th Leo. I want her to win. And I think she wants to win. But she wants to win at all costs, not at the cost of compromise. If you, yes, the Bible, there's a lot of people quoting Bible scripture on Twitter, which is hilarious to me, but it talks about a man leaving and cleaving into his wife and family, and that is very real. And in America, everybody, we're so detached to full culture in America. I talk about my own personal heritage is that of British West Indies, even though I am an American and was born here, but I was raised West Indian. And Americans are like, well, he's 40, he wants to move out of his house, but he's part of the monarchy. I don't understand how people don't make the connection. Yes, he could have had anything, and he did have his own house. His grandmother didn't say, come sleep in the bedroom next to me. He had his own life, and him and William both with their families thriving. But now he's in this predicament, guys, and I want you to pray for him because he is not going to know how to get out. He's not going to know what hit him. When he starts to see the mask fully off of Meghan, he is going to be so terrified, and I think he's going to be disgusted, and not only disgusted but sad about the shift, the seismic shift that he allowed. Now, here's what I will say too. There are many lessons interwoven here, and it's not all black and white. Harry clearly had to walk this path. He clearly chose to walk this path. When I say that, I mean we incarnate to learn lessons. So Harry came in to learn a lesson here. So he will evolve and rise out of this stronger than he went into it. And he will learn so much about himself and about protecting himself, just like I did, just like you have that are watching. How much did you learn from your narcissistic abuse? Can you tell the signs when someone's coming? Harry needed to be strengthened. And what Harry is at is his first Saturn return, where he comes of age. Well, Meghan is 36, 38. I don't know how old she is, but I believe she's 38. While Meghan is that age, Harry is in his first Saturn return. Saturn return is when we come of age, really. In America, we say we come of age of 18, get out of the house. Well, really, universally, we come of age at 28 and a half to about 30, 31, 32, about that time, that 3 to 4 year arc. And everything in your life changes at that time, whether you want it to or not. You can absolutely be trying so hard to hold on and keep it the same, and it will change. People buy their first house, they get their first job, they get pregnant, they have a miscarriage, they have an abortion, they lose a baby by accident. Maybe they get a dream job, maybe they write a screenplay, maybe they write a book, maybe they go bankrupt for the first time, maybe they buy their first business, maybe they fall in love, maybe they decide that they're a different they come out of the closet and they're like, you know what, this is who I am. There are so many pivotal changes that happen. We get 3 of them in our life if we're lucky, in our late 50s, and then again in our 80s. So what's happened here for Harry is everything is the perfect storm. He is exactly, as hard as it is for us to believe watching, he is where he is supposed to be in order to get him to grow up. That's what Saturn return is about, growth. Saturn is a planet of long lessons. It takes 28 and a half years for Saturn to get back to the place in your chart from the day you were born. Saturn is associated with the planet, with the sign of Capricorn, which is associated with father, longevity, tough lessons, loyalty, family. Do you see the theme here? Loyalty to the throne, family, abandonment, father. Not a strong father figure. His mother figure was stronger, and the queen really even stronger. Everything for Harry is identified around maternal energy. And so is it any wonder that he fell for someone who presented as the ultimate mother to him? and was able to nurture him in a way that he was not able to be fully nurtured by his mother because her life was cut short. That's why I say pray for Harry. He needs our prayers. He needs our energy. He needs our good juju. He needs our good everything. Because he is in the midst of a whirlwind that I think it could take him a few years to come out of. And when he does start to come out of it, when he realizes the toxic ugliness of Megan and how she will turn every weapon, that's the thing here. I will leave you because it's getting long again. I don't know how it gets so long-winded with these two, but every method and machination that Megan has utilized and told him we are Bonnie and Clyde. The fact that she started merching Her Royal Highness and His Royal Highness and Duke and Duchess of Sussex 6 months prior to. This was not all Harry's idea. I'm sure he came to her because he wanted a pat on the head. And he came to her and said, this is a few things I have in mind. But Megan has been directing that show as all narcissists do. Harry would not have left his country, ever, unless it was a gaslighting input from Megan. It doesn't mean that Harry is not responsible as a man for his own behavior. He is. But man, I gotta give him a tiny bit of leeway because I know what narcissistic abuse is like, and I know how crippling it can be, and I know how intoxicating it can be. Can we talk about that? The intoxication that he is under. See, the thing about it is with anybody that's suffering from narcissistic abuse is when you are being love bombed, it's kind of incredible. It's one of the most like soulmatey feelings you'll ever have. Like, this person knows me. No, this person is mirroring human behavior. This person is a monster. But Harry has yet to fully come into that realization. And so I will leave that here. Pray for Archie. Pray for Harry. That together they end up, and that's Freudian, that they end up together. Because if Megan starts to spiral out when the jig is finally up and the mask is all the way dropped and she's worked on the discard and maybe Harry's got pried away, something will happen. And when that point happens, if Megan is angry, she will use Archie as a weapon, which is, I hate to say this because I hate to think any woman does this, but Megan is not, she may take wonderful pictures of being a good mother, but I don't know that her first priority is her son. I think that her first priority is her. And I think that it shifts when we have kids, right? Mothers, you guys know, when we have kids, we look at our babies and we're like, oh my gosh, I would do anything to protect you. It's all about you. In the days after Megan had Archie, and in the days prior to having Archie, she had thrown several fits and tantrums about how she did not want to follow royal protocol that had been in place for hundreds of years to come out and show the baby. And so all these wonderful think pieces were written. Should we have to follow the pressure? Should we be in high heels when we're swollen and sad? And sure, there were some valid points there, all of which Megan used to her advantage. Megan's first thought after Archie wasn't born was, my sweet, sweet baby. Megan's first thought was, I don't want people to see me fat. Or, I don't want people to see me at my not most optimal because I've just had a baby. I don't want to go out there. I. Not Prince Harry. I am married into your family and this is just what we do. So we're going to grin and bear it. And she did, sort of. Guys, pray for Harry. Pray for Archie. All right. I'm so glad we got to share some energy today. We will watch how this unfolds. If there's any need to make any more videos, I will certainly hop on here and do it. I feel like I've covered everything that I needed to say though, so I will leave that here and comment down below if you've noticed similar things or if you've had a similar premonition. And come back and join me and we will continue to evolve together.